Nope, I ain't forget about y'all. I didn't forget about y'all. Your boy G Bush, fresh into the living room. You know, we pulled up, we got ready to go. We fresh off Brown's practice, and it's time to talk. It's time to get to it. We was out there today. It was a hot one. I learned a lot of things today. Even though no, there was no pads, there's a couple of things that we got to talk about. And I'm going to give you why, in my honest estimation, from giving all the things that I took in today, from all the things we looked at training camp, from read the tea leaves and body language and all that good stuff about how people move in person. I'm going to let you know right now, ain't no quarterback competition. You've been sold a bill of goods. I'll tell you why when we come back. Your boy G Bush, locked and ready. I told y'all I was going to tell the truth, and we got the truth ready to go for y'all right here on The Barbershop. Come on in and sit down. Barbershop is open. Let's take your numbers. Take your numbers and get ready, man. We pulling up, man. If you on UCSS, what's up? If we on the barbershop, what's good? If you on Twitter, how y'all doing? If you on Facebook, shout out to you right now. It's 318 and climbing in here in the building. And we got the sheet of integrity. I got it all written down. You see that? You see that? Let me see. You see it? I got it all written down. We was at practice today. It was a crazy one. It wasn't really that crazy. It was hot outside. They really wasn't running too much stuff. But I got the news and notes what happened at practice. And as I told y'all, when G Bush does go to practice, I will pull up and let you know. I was supposed to be at practice yesterday. A lot of people reached out to me. I saw you. Yeah, shout out to the people who came to my house. Yeah, my pipe in the sewer line collapsed. So that was a whole big crazy operation, bro. It was nuts, bro. So shout out to the people who came out and took care of that. They had been many construction site in my yard, so we couldn't go to practice yesterday. I was a little bummed out about it, but it was the first day. Second day, I was out there today, saw everybody moving. All the regulars was out there. The Jason Lloyds, the Tony Grossies, the Mary Kays, the Spencer Germans. If I miss your name, everybody was out there. And we was out at practice. And I'm going to give you what my honest estimation is of what I saw in training camp day 2 today. And I'm going to give it to you right quickly. To me, I'm going to let you know that right now, in my opinion, as I see it, there is no quarterback competition. There isn't one. I'm going to let you know that right now. And that's not because of specifically what I saw on the field. There is some things on the field that I saw that would lead me to that conclusion. But also, we're going to tell you what made me come to that conclusion based on Kevin Stefanski speaking today, Andrew Berry speaking today, also the way practice was scheduled today. So first and foremost, here's what I'll do. Because, don't nobody really care. I got a bunch of stuff. It's some Dylan Sampson. It's some Cedric Tillman stuff, second offensive line, but don't nobody want to care about that. I mean, y'all can get that later from somewhere else. You came to hear me what I got to say about the quarterback competition. Let's get right to it. Let's start today because Andrew Berry spoke to the press today. And Andrew Berry came out, and I thought this was very, very important to listen to. Remember, football and sports in general doesn't necessarily have to do with who's better than who. Football and sports is a corporate entity. It is a political entity. And always remember, it's not about what sometimes people say about you. It's about what they don't say about you. Tone matters. Energy levels matter. And here's what I got from the energy level where I was at practice. It started early. Andrew Berry had a conversation. He had conversations with the media. Let me start off by him starting off his press conference with the note of Quinshon Judkins. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. Let me move my banner down. There we go. Browns general manager Andrew Berry declined to speculate on if the Browns would fail to sign running back Quinshon Judkins or let him go in wake of his domestic battery charge. The way I would say it is, I've learned in many of these off the field situations not to go too far into the future, Barry said. We'll deal with it day to day. You end up using a lot of mental energy in terms of hypotheticals and things of that nature. Rather, we will focus on getting the information and then making the right decision. As for whether or not his legal situation would be resolved before the Browns sign him, Barry also declined to say. I'd say in Quinshon specifically, it's to be determined, he said. We're still gathering information. So in terms of those decisions, signing, Barry being in camp and everything like that, it's honestly probably too early to make any type of determination. So we gather information. We'll have a better view on that. Now listen, see, this is why I break it down the way I break it down. I'm not going to just give you no field stuff. See, you got to read between the lines and you got to you got to dig deep. Right now, please pay attention. This all comes into what I'm talking about. Let's keep it moving. Judkins, the Browns' second-round pick out of Ohio State, was charged with a misdemeanor domestic battery against his girlfriend on July 7th in Fort Lauderdale and is out of jail on a $2,500 bond. He's awaiting his first hearing. According to the police report, the woman said Judkins punched her repeatedly, including in the chin and the mouth area. This incident provided Thursday by Fort Lauderdale police says the victim stated that there had been prior incidents of domestic violence, but nothing to the point of what occurred in that case. The Browns will continue to investigate all facets of the case, as will the NFL. Last year, another Browns second-round pick, rookie Mike Hall Jr., was suspended 5 games by the NFL after a domestic incident with his girlfriend. The Browns had him on the field in training camp the day after the arrest, but he was under contract. The Browns have put Judkins' contract on hold while they do their due diligence. He's due about $11.3 million, including at almost $5 million signing bonus. So why is it taking so long to sort out the Judkins incident when they had Hall on the field so quickly? And he talked about this early. I believe actually Mary Kay asked this question. That probably goes back to what I talked about earlier in terms of the information that we had at the time. Barry said, all these situations are different and unique, and the information that we had at the time with Mike was different. The other thing is I'd add any decision for follow-up, whether it's reintegration or discipline or removal from the team activities, those decisions aren't made in a vacuum. Those aren't football decisions. Those are a variety of people that have different expertise, many of them who aren't in a football operations. So each situation is different, and I don't think we should necessarily map one to the other. Okay, here you go. So Andrew Berry, so far through this conversation, is being very careful what he's saying. He's not giving too much information. He's not being concrete about whether or not they're going to sign him, what the timetable for him to come back is, and he does not want to compare this situation to any other situation that might be available to you guys out there. So let's keep it moving. Berry delivered a long opening statement about Judkins' situation, acknowledging that it weighed heavily on his mind, and the Browns have also have linebacker Devin Bush awaiting a pre-trial conference August 15th on his domestic violence incident involving his girlfriend in May. I'd like to start by saying that anytime not just a player, but a member of your organization is involved in a legal situation, and particularly one that involves allegations of domestic violence, you lose a ton of sleep over it, he said. You lose a ton of sleep over it, not just because of the seriousness of the allegation, but also because of the amount of time and energy you spend really vetting a person and who comes into your organization. And then probably for us, in the past 2 years in particular, the amount of time and the resources we spent on the education part of this is not just with our players, but with the whole entire organization. So there you have it. His thought process on Mike Hall Jr., his process on Quinshon Judkins. And then we get to this. We juxtapose that with what he had to say in terms of Shedeur Sanders. He also spoke on Shedeur Sanders today. In the first few months since he was drafted, Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders has faced off-the-field scrutiny due to a pair of speeding violations. Browns general manager Andrew Berry gave a blunt assessment of those incidents. When speaking about Shedeur Sanders, not smart, Berry told reporters Thursday, just not smart. On two separate occasions in June, Sanders was cited for driving over the posted speed limit. In one instance, Sanders was driving 91 in a 65 zone. In the most recent incident, the rookie quarterback was driving 101 in a 60-mile-an-hour zone. Berry said he has spoken to Sanders about his decision-making on the road, noting that the 23-year-old is putting the lives of everyone around him at risk. It was something that we have addressed with him, Berry said. He understands the implications. He understands the consequences. I think the thing is just not just about yourself. It's not just about having a joyride. It's not just about driving a car really fast. It's about the fact that you can endanger other people. It's just dangerous. It's not something we want our guys doing. It's not something they should be doing. Kansas City receivers chief Rashee Rice has sentenced to 30 days in jail for causing a multi-car crash in Dallas back in 24. Berry noted he didn't want anything like this to happen with any other player on the Browns roster. There's the number one reason is we don't want any type of catastrophic accident, Berry added. We saw those 2 years ago in Dallas with one player. In that incident, everybody was lucky to walk away. We don't want that occurring with anyone. Now, on surface level, what he's saying is what he's saying not truthful? No. On the surface level, is what he's saying not, anybody will say, hey, we don't want anybody to get hurt, right? But what you have to talk about is tone. And tone tells you a lot of times, and body language tells you a lot of times what you won't see, not in person. When you look at those two statements, and when you talk about Quinshon Judkins and Mike Hall Jr., and the statements in the concrete nature, in the way that he talked about Shedeur Sanders, tells you a couple of things. It tells me it's not saying that he doesn't like Shedeur Sanders or that he hates Shedeur Sanders. I want people to be very clear on what I'm speaking on right now, because sometimes people can't hear what you're saying and you got to take the whole context of it. I'm not saying what he said was inaccurate. What I'm saying is you must also look at the context in which he's describing two things. In one circumstance, he's being very non-committal or anything. It's an ongoing investigation. We're not going to do that. When they asked about Mike Hall Jr. practicing right after that, he was very non-committal. That it was we don't want to clump cases together. We don't want to say that one is close to another. It's a case-to-case situation. But when it mentioned with Shedeur Sanders, they had no problem talking about another case and comparing them. Not saying that there's an issue with that, because most people will say, yeah, we don't want you to be driving fast, whatever. But you see the nature of which he's very concrete. He's okay with the reprimand. He's okay with saying stuff publicly on the record. Where people will miss this a lot is this is not because of a dislike factor. The Browns signed all three of the players. All three of them are on their team. But what this means is he's attached to those players. You see, when Quinshon Judkins is your second-round pick, he is very intimately attached to you and your legacy. See, when you speak about losing sleep at night, you ask yourself, well, why you should lose sleep at night about everybody, right? Nah, because it tells you there's a separation between what the thought process is with Shedeur Sanders and the thought process is with Quinshon Judkins and Mike Hall Jr. Both second-round picks, both people that the organization talk about spending multiple resources to vet out and who have had issues with domestic violence in the past. You see, when you talk about this thing on a bigger level, you got to understand something. Everybody has picks. And when I say picks, who are you willing to put your name beside? Andrew Berry's name is by Quinshon Judkins. Whatever happens in this case is officially tied to him, right? Mike Hall Jr., it's officially tied to him. You could tell by the tone, you could tell by the energy level, and you could tell by the way they tiptoe around the conversation. Because even if he don't agree with what Mike Hall Jr. and Quinshon Judkins did, for him, it is advantageous for them to be on the football field quicker rather than later, because they have attached their name to it. Their reputation is to it. Those are the picks I handed. Who you drafting at number 2? He goes to the owner. I got this guy. You can tell. All you got to do is read the tea leaves. The energy level is there. But when you talk about Shedeur Sanders, he ain't got no problem saying that was dumb. It wasn't smart. This is why we don't want our guys doing that. Somebody could get hurt. Not saying that he don't like Shedeur Sanders or Shedeur Sanders ain't part of the Cleveland Brown. There's a level of non-attachment to it. Let me give you an example. Let me give you a quick example. If you want to get somebody upset, right? Always go back. You can always tell who's in a relationship because they act different. You ever see two friends that used to be friends and ain't nothing there, and all of a sudden they start hanging out, maybe hooking up with one another, going on dates behind everybody's back, and then they start getting weird in public? You're like, why? I brought up Susie's name the other day. I'm like, man, you know who looked nice today? Susie. Your boy John look at you like, man, why you looking at Susie? You're like, dang, bro, we talk about Susie all the time. What you mean? Susie always look good. I'm just saying, Susie is smart, intelligent, and she comes from a good family. I don't think you should be over-sexualizing Susie. You're like, dang, John, you all right, bro? I'm cool with her. I just said her outfit was nice. I'm just saying, though. I mean, I would just rather not talk about it. I'd rather not talk about this. You're like, oh, okay. You get with your other buddies, my John definitely likes Susie. Then you see Susie, she'd be like, hey guys, how you doing? It's hi and bye. Susie used to come hang out with the fellas. It's hi and bye. Hey, what's up? Where you going, girl? I'm on my way home. I'll catch you guys later. We'll get together later sometime and do something, and then maybe. Something is up. You notice the energy. When Barry talk about them other two, read the tea leaves, read the energy, read the levels. That's number one. Let's start with that. Quarterback competition. Now, if you've been watching the barbershop and you've been listening to the barbershop and you listen to me, I've been laying down the narrative from Jump Street. I've said from day one, I believe that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski already had another plan that did not involve Shedeur Sanders. I've always said that. Now, let's go to the field. Now, when you go to practice and you're looking around, let me throw out a couple of things just so I got to be able to keep it real. There's a couple of misnomers out here that we've been going with. And from hold on, let me take this out. Somebody's blowing me up right now. I don't know who it is. He's going crazy. Yeah. So let me tell you about this. When you get out there, the first misnomer that's going around is there is some sort of difference in the playbook. There's some sort of difference in the comprehension. There's some sort of difference in knowing the plays, knowing where to go with the football, understanding what the defense is trying to tell you. I will unequivocally tell you false narrative. Unequivocally false narrative. When it comes to the quarterback room, and when it comes to them playing, first and foremost, all four quarterbacks, they look like they know the part. There's when they get to the line of scrimmage, they're calling it and they're going with it. They know where the checks is. For the most part, all the footwork looks the same. There is no difference in high-level learning, or this person can't get his steps right, or that person is miles ahead with learning. Unequivocally false. As a matter of fact, the Cleveland Browns got the practice schedule so like vanilla that there's no difference. It's very different. There's no difference in the drops. There's no difference in the cadence, the rhythm, what they're looking at. They do a very, and I would expect this from Kevin Stefanski. They're very pragmatic in the way they go about coaching and the foundations. Right now, it looks like they're early in their process of installing what they want to do. And OTAs, in some of the video I saw, it was a lot more shotgun, a lot more throwing the ball, doing those things. Today, it was like learning to dance. It was like 1, 2, 3. Take the snap, 2-step, hand to the running back, fake rollout. Very scripted, very vanilla, almost down to the point where they done broke them all the way back down to the basics. And when you look at it from the throws, when they're doing quarterback individual throws, there's no difference. There's none. I mean, you can look at them and you can say who threw the ball well, who threw the ball different. There's no difference. Now, in terms of what you see from the velocity, there's one thing I will say, and I told this to Jason Lloyd because he was on the sideline. One thing people might be surprised at is Dillon Gabriel, yes, is short in stature. And when it comes, we'll talk about some of the pocket presence stuff that I think may be an issue. But when it comes to throwing the football, Dillon Gabriel does have a strong arm. When you look at it, most times you can look at left-hand quarterbacks from, you could go Boomer Esiason. You can go with Boomer Esiason. You can go with Matt Leinart. Sometimes there's a theory. It just Todd Marinovich, guys with the long left hand throwing. It seems like the throwing motion is not condensed. It's a little long and it's a little slower to get the ball out. I thought he throws a nice tight spiral. Now it's not it's not like the thing that was like, oh my goodness, he has the craziest arm I've ever seen. No, I'm just saying that one of the things I specifically wanted to look at was, let me see what the arm talent is looking like. And I will say, from looking at it on the sideline, I told Jason, I said, okay, all right, I see what you got. He throws the ball and he throws a nice out route. He throws underneath routes. He really throws a nice tight spiral. Now, let me just tell you this. None of them, in terms of the quarterbacks, no balls hit the ground, really, because that's how rudimentary they were. So I wanted to start with that because people think I'm going to come over here and hate. I ain't no hater, bro. I just tell you how it is, right? Another thing that I will say is you look at on the field, I was watching how people navigate to Shedeur and how he goes about. Because there's when we get to it later on, I will talk about how I feel like what his path to playing is. Because I think there's three places where I feel like he can get to get a path to the football field. Because we'll get to the bombshell. I don't think there's no competition, right? I don't think it is. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about why I believe there's no quarterback competition. When you go back and you watch this, and I started watching practice, today, Joe Flacco, he started off with the first team reps. Yesterday was Kenny Pickett. Flacco started off today. It was regular. They were running screen passes. Wasn't no deep balls thrown or nothing like that. So in the team session, Flacco goes first. Second was your boy Kenny Pickett, right? And then third was Dillon Gabriel. In the team place, Shedeur didn't get no reps, right? He was just watching, right? So then as we continue to go, they broke off into 7-on-7s. On the right-hand side of the field, They went down to the right field. It was Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett. On the left side of the field, it was Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Now, during that period, Kenny Pickett got picked off, and it looked like it could have been a pick six by Grant Delpit. Now, I don't know if they ran the wrong route, but it was a pick six. It was a big play by the defense. Joe Flacco, they mixed in and out, and Joe Flacco was in there. He didn't really do anything crazy, like anyone no crazy throws or nothing like that, but that was a big play on that field. When they were running on the other field, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders were moving in and out. They were working on underneath routes. As I said before, most of what you saw today was them installing basics. And if I'm being clear about it, it looked like a run install day, because that's the another big takeaway I took away from this practice is that the Cleveland Browns, they're going to be running this football early and often. They're going to be running this doggone ball early. I mean, look, maybe it was the install day that I was there, but boy, I mean, Pierre Strong was getting touches. He had a nice day today, but too. Dylan Sampson was a little bigger and faster than I thought he was, which is exciting. But in terms of what we looked at during the practice, though, it wasn't a throw day. And even when they was throwing the ball, it was all underneath stuff. There wasn't nothing over the top, right? So I looked at it and was like, okay, well, let's see. At the end of practice, you did see Shedeur did get some reps, but it was with the 2s and 3s kind of on the goal line. And here's what got me to the point where I felt like I was comfortable in saying what I'm getting to right now. I believe straight up that the game plan for the Cleveland Browns prior to them drafting Shedeur Sanders was to simply take Dillon Gabriel as a, I guess, flyer quarterback that they could, develop maybe as a backup quarterback, whatever the case may be. And the plan when they traded Travis Hunter to get another first-round draft pick, I wholeheartedly believe that Andrew Berry has already preliminarily evaluated and fallen in love with a quarterback next year. That's the energy level already. Because in this practice, there seems to be no energy level around even practically seeing if Dillon Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders can play ball. It's not. Right now, it's Joe Flacco and it's Kenny Pickett. And as I talked to you before, remember what I said early on in the contest. Sometimes in life, it ain't about whether or not you good or not. It's about whether or not who's tied to you, whether or not who chose you, who picked you. This is people's career you talking about. So when he says they come out and say it's a quarterback competition, that is a red herring. That is a red herring. That is only unjust. The same way they said that they was going out there, the same way that they was talking that energy, that they went out there to get Travis Hunter, and Andrew Berry talked about how Travis Hunter was so good and how he was generational and all this. And then they got a defensive tackle. Yeah. Kevin Stefanski is they're not invested in no quarterback competition, right? That's not, no. Their plan moving was to say, well, look, if we use Joe Flacco and we use Kenny Pickett and we can split them games up by 8-8, you know what I'm saying? We'll 8-7 somewhere with that way. We might have an opportunity where we can fool people and bamboozle people to think we actually trying to win no games. But we're not actually trying to win no games. They ain't trying to win no games. They're not. I can tell you, because when you look at it, the goal now is instead of them doing the 8-8, when ownership, because by the way, it was ownership. Let me tell you that. By the way, now listen, I'm not ripping. I didn't tell nobody. I ain't talked to nobody, but I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Ownership said, man, give me Shedeur. Go ahead and pick him right quick. That threw a monkey wrench in the game because Shedeur can actually play. He can actually play. To be truthful, as I watch each 4 of them throw the football, he's just as good as any other 3 of them. As I said, none of them look bad, right? They're doing rudimentary stuff. But when it comes to throwing the football, he's just as good as the rest of them. That goes for Flacco, whatever. Pickett, whatever. But here's the thing. It's what type of opportunity will you get to show that? What type of opportunity will you get to display that? And let me remind you, these are jobs on the line. These are people's career on the line. And the move to trade back is about a quarterback. It ain't about nothing else. The problem you have now is, let me tell you about the competing stimuli, the competing factions. Andrew Berry seemed a little on edge to me today. Kevin Stefanski seemed like he was chilling. Hey, listen, Kevin Stefanski had the unbothered look on. When he's talking about competition, he's like, whatever. You know, hey, listen, competition, these guys did a pretty good job in the offseason. And, you know, Andrew Berry even alluded to the fact that he thought that the offseason program was nice and that Kevin Stefanski put the team guys in a position where they had to compete. Kevin Stefanski had the unbothered face on today. Chilling, walking apart. Andrew Berry said he was losing sleep. The problem, and you ask yourself, how does this work? The problem is Andrew Berry has to survive in order to even use the pick he traded for. I'm in full mode in saying this. There's no way Andrew Berry can survive a 3-win season. He just can't. Not to mention the fact that 2 of your first picks that you had are missing games, right? The principle of what they wanted to do was obvious when I was at practice. They are going to run the football. And the crown jewel of the run game was Quinshon Judkins, and he's suspended. They don't even know if they can sign him. That don't fall on Kevin Stefanski. That don't fall on him, because now you give Kevin Stefanski an out card. You say, listen, I want to run my offense. I want to run my offense. It wasn't my decision to move on from Nick Chubb, that front office. Quinshon Judkins was unavailable the first 6 games. I'd use Pierre Strong. There's levels to it, right? And the reason I say also, going back to the goal line with Shedeur Sanders as to why I think this competition has been like, it ain't no competition. This is a wait out game. They cool with giving 4 games to Flacco, 4 games to Pickett, 4 games to Gabriel, 4 games to Shedeur. One person might get 5, the other people get 4. You know why? I literally think they're okay with that. And if you do that, you don't have enough information either way to make a determination on if somebody is good, bad, or indifferent. Do you? That's another plausible, deniable thing. When you have 4 quarterbacks and you're interested in keeping 4 quarterbacks, that means you're going to play all 4 quarterbacks, or you think you might want to play all 4 of them. And if you split it up evenly, there's no way that you can go to the bank and say, you're going to tell me you're going to pass on a quarterback that you may have liked for 3 years because guy played 4 games pretty good. Worst case scenario. But there is also something that people that want to see Shedeur Sanders play or Dylan Gabriel play, there's one thing that they can work with is the fact that there's a person, an inspector, standing over all of it. and that is one Jimmy Haslam. To be honest, Shedeur's best plan of option is Jimmy Haslam. We'll talk about that coming up a little bit later. But let me get to this. This dawned on me as they were taking reps on the goal line. Shedeur was in there with the threes, I believe. And the first snap that Shedeur had was a low snap. The ball basically like dribbled to him. They blew the play dead. Bad snap, defense goes crazy, right? Horrible. Like it was like it was literally horrible. Like he basically hit a ground ball to him. The second play, they come back again. Center snaps another low one. And this time the whole left-hand side gets blown up. It was, I don't know what they was running. Guy came free. Couldn't even throw the football. It was like literally 1,000, 1,000, right? There was a third play where it just looked, I don't even know what play they was running. Like, I was just like, and then it dawned on me. This is the problem that you have when you have the deck stacked against you. So to me, if, as I say, that there is no difference in the skill level, right? There's no difference in throwing the football or whatever the case may be that prohibits him from taking first team reps. The problem is when you are playing with the threes and guys that aren't going to be on the squad, there is no literal way in which you can definitively prove yourself because you're at a disadvantage. You're playing with guys who aren't going to be on the team or are borderline pros. So now in camp, offense is always behind defense. So now for you to make a splash, for you to make a dent, for you to make anything move, you're going to have to make plays. So now you're counting on the third round receiver to get open and catch the ball and not drop it. You're counting on the left tackle to pick up that blitz that you audible to. You're counting on the running back to punch it in on the goal line. You're counting on, if it's a 2-minute drill, that guys know the routes. And it's an uphill battle. To be honest, if you switch any of the quarterbacks and you put Kenny Pickett with the threes, he wouldn't look good either. You put Joe Flacco with the threes, he wouldn't look good either. The problem is, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. How can you make plays when you don't have the level around you? But if you do make plays with that level or group of people, they don't count it because it's with the threes. I mean, it was garbage time. I mean, does that really count? I mean, we can't even look too far into that, can we? I mean, it's garbage time. You're with the threes. We can't read too much into that. See, that's the game that you're against. And when I mean that the deck is stacked against you, if you were having a legit quarterback competition, and a legit quarterback competition means everybody has a right or a share. Let me not say right, because no one has a right to anything, right? You got to earn what you get. So I don't want people to get misconstrued. But if there was a quarterback competition, which you said it was, every single person would be getting the availability to play with the highest level competition and against the highest level competition. If you want to see who's the best quarterback, it's simple scientific method. You put one quarterback in who's playing with the ones, who's playing against your best defenders. You chart and see how they did. Okay, next day, let's see if that was Flacco. Next day, Kenny Pickett. You're playing with the ones. You're going to go against all the best defenders. We'll see how you did in practice. Next day, Dylan Gabriel. Next day, Shedeur Sanders. Now, any comparison that you have is apples to apples. There's no conjecture. There's no, well, if you look this way, or who was he playing with, or why was this happening? You would need that because you would know your scientific method is solid. You are using the same competition. You're all thrown to Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku. You all have Jack Conklin. You all had Joe Bitonio and DeJuan Jones up front. You got your number one running backs. So now there is no jailbreaks or bad snaps. You can simply evaluate based on Who is making the right decisions, who's throwing the ball, who's most efficient, and who has the most talent. In this case, in the way the things are set up, this is not the case at all. Now, Kevin Stefanski did say yesterday, I want to be accurate, that this is the setup for this week. However, next week on Sunday, I practice Saturday. On Sunday, he'll gather around, he'll get with the staff and talk about whether or not they want to adjust some things. Now, granted, some people will be in the chat and they'll say, well, G. Bush, you're doing too much. It's too much extra. It's just second day of practice. There's no whatever. There's no pads. Yeah. You don't have to tell me none of that. I understand it because I done played the game. I done been through these practices. And that's why, therefore, I understand and know that at this point, as you see in the stream, there is no competition right now. And I must say, right now, the deck is stacked against them. Now, after I get to some of these comments, 2,585 people, wherever you are, please hit that like and say hello for me. Whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on any social media or the barbershop, subscribe to the channel, and let's get to it. But when we come back, I'm going to get to some of these comments because I know there's some people in these comments. I'm going to give you the 3 ways that Shedeur Sanders can get on the football field earlier and what can and will make this a competition. There are 3 specific things that I think need to happen or could happen that propel him. But first and foremost, I want to see what y'all got to say about me saying the competition. There is none. I don't see anything right now. Who's hollering? Hold on, let me take this down. Y'all cats is funny, man. Ain't no competition right now. They be mad. Hey, Viva Herdendo 1 says, please let the Jets trade for Shedeur. Please. By the way, I would be mad. I'd be upset. I mean, I'm not trading him. I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm not trading nobody. You're just going to be mad at me. I am not trading him for I don't care if it's a 3rd round pick. Nope. Sorry. I don't need 3rd round picks. As you can see, the Browns mess up 3rd round picks and 1st round picks too. What them picks going to do for me? Nothing. Let me trade nobody. But, people did talk about that. Number 12 has worse O-line and throwing to a guy in a leg brace. That's the problem. Miss Tien, we appreciate you. That's the problem. And that's the problem that I see with, I wanted to evaluate the structure of what they was doing. Because a lot of times people talk about this quarterback competition. I wanted to see if the quarterback competition was valid to start with. To me, I didn't see nothing that said that the Cleveland Browns is invested in Shedeur Sanders starting. Not the coach, not the general manager, not the reps, not the energy. I mean, I'm just looking at it. Like, listen, that is a beautiful, sometimes you got to look at the smoke screen, bro. Like, people say it's conspiracy theories. You got to look at the smoke screen. There's a lot of stuff going around where they telling you one thing and they moving another way. They're not moving like it's no obvious quarterback competition. Like, it ain't even like that. Like, come on now. It might get to that. They might come around. They might get there. But as we talk about it, nah. Let's get to it. Who else next? Daniel Cutchin says, it's Flacco's team till it ain't. Let me tell you this. They went with Kenny Pickett the first time. Yesterday, they went with Flacco today. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If it was me, I wouldn't even be having a Kenny Pickett conversation. You know how I feel about it. Joe Flacco will start into a certain point in time, and then we make it a move to Shedeur. But if you're looking at it, I don't see the level of upside in the Kenny Pickett thing. I just don't see it. Auto Expectations says there's a big difference between talking about speeding tickets and beating a woman. There is. There's levels to it, right? It is. I mean, that is why I try to go back and look at it But even when Myles Garrett was speeding, I mean, he's not going to use that type of language. I don't believe he used that type of language with Myles Garrett when he was speeding. But that's different because it's Myles Garrett. So you got to get to it. You got to get to it. Keys to Kentucky says, bro, I just tuned in. Start over. Nah, you ain't got to start over. We're going to recap. We'll get it to you. We'll get it to you. Let's see. Selmo Fudd. They draft came. They all passed on him. He hot in the land, and they all on him. Let me see. Let's see. We didn't already get, if you put a super chat, let me know because I didn't got to. I'm only showing 2 right now. So I'm not seeing it right now. So let me see. If it's missing you, I'm not ignoring you. Maybe I might need to refresh my maybe I might need to refresh my screen. So let me see. Let me see this. KR Thunder. He says Quincy Carrier was arguing the same thing with different words. I think I saw a blog with Quincy that he was kind of talking about it a little bit, of the same situation. But you know, I can only give you what I thought and what I see. And to me, the whole four quarterback thing is a smokescreen. It's something to keep people off the trails a little bit. All right, so we took some screenshots here of the super chats. We appreciate y'all if you got a super chat. Let's see. D Dell says Stefanski and Barry are worthless. Nothing fair about what they're doing. We need free Shedeur's t-shirts. Praying they trade him. They don't mean with him well. Great show, G. Bush. I think too, you guys have to learn, understand this. These organizations be having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 year plans about stuff. And here's the problem with it. The problem is this. When you have people who are looking on a 3 to 4 year schedule, sometimes people don't even be in their own, they don't be in the mix for them. And so a lot of people don't understand this about like sports in general. Sports is a political generator. And when I say political, it's political in nature in terms of it's elections, right? So I'll give you an example. People be like, yo, there's fair and free elections in like Guatemala. No, they're not. on the face of it, it's a free and fair election, but it ain't free and fair. And when you in some village in South Africa or you in North Korea, hey, the dictator, he's been freely elected 75 times in a row. You're like, that's easy to do. When you got the National Guard sitting there with machetes and AK-47s at the ballot box. That's free and fair too. Hey, when you got military tanks going down the street and it's right back next to the ballot box with all the people coming from the village to vote, you got second thoughts on basically being like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to, I don't think I'm going to vote for the local dude. He might have to lose this one. You got the dude sitting at the ballot box looking at you. Talk about, you sure you want to make that move? Hey, it's the same way about, listen, quarterback competitions. Yeah, it's open. It's open. Kind of, but not really. But we got some other super chats. Hit me up. Shout out to my wife over here handing me the super chats. We got, go ahead and take the screenshot of them. We'll take them. We'll make sure we get y'all in here. All right, we got a couple more here. Morning Coffee. Who is Shedeur's agent? Calls need to be made. Free 12. Listen, you know what I will say about Shedeur? And I'll give him credit for it. Remember I told you Kevin Stefanski was unbothered? He was unbothered. This dude was out there talking to everybody he saw. The coach, the trainer. After every rep, he had his helmet off. He was by the coach. He was attentive. He was dapping everybody up. He was back there talking to every quarterback that came off the field. He had energy when he came out early. And think about this. He missed no throws. He gave every opportunity he got. He completed the pass. He was congratulatory to people. He was literally unbothered. He is in a great mental shape, and he is in a great mental place. And let me tell you why that counts. We're talking about this now, but let me tell you why you should be encouraged. All right. But yeah, he was unbothered. He was out there doing this thing, bopping around. So I don't think it's the agent. He ain't got to say nothing yet, but he'll get to it. Yoshidochi 2006 says, I saw Stefanski's spurt when Shedeur was drafted. I saw Barry's frown. Haslam made the pick, but on the behest of the coach, cracks in paradise. Yeah. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this right now. Let me see if I got some more in here. Here we go. It's updating now. It's updating now. Let's see. Yoshidochi also says, what about those poo brown helmets? Nasty work. Next time, have your boy G. Bush pull up on y'all, bro. Nasty work with the helmets. Now, if you throw a visor and wear some black, it could look decent. It all depends on if you good or not. But I thought they could have did so much better. They could have did something else. Paul, the true believer. Thanks for being truthful. I'm discussing with the Cleveland Browns. They should just trade him so that he can have a real opportunity. Look, man. I said, let me put this back up. I said that's of today. KR Thunder gifted 5 Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show memberships. Thank you guys so much for that. If you over there, hit the like button. I'm going to be back at camp on Saturday. And this will kind of be important a little bit because he said they may reset this thing. They may reset it. And they may change the order coming up in the next week. Now, again, I do want to preface. They was doing remedial stuff. They was doing, I mean, this is football 101 stuff. They wasn't doing nothing crazy. They was going over footsteps and learning how to run play action. That was it. G. Bush, if the Browns were smart, they would embrace Shedeur and get their money back that they wasted in Watson. $250 million in jersey sales. With the money Shedeur would bring in, it would be recouped that. Here's the problem, Joseph Jack. I don't really care about the money recouped with Watson. I think he can play. I think that's the biggest thing that we keep missing in this whole thing is, and sometimes it happens that way as we get to talking about the in-betweens and the backwards and the forwards and who picked who and why did he fall and is he really, like, more than anything, Shedeur Sanders is a good football player. More than anything, I feel like Shedeur Sanders has what it takes to be a franchise quarterback. More than anything, I think Shedeur Sanders has a special it quality that you look for in players at quarterback. And I think sometimes it's a shame it get missed in all of this with the speeding tickets and whether or not this or that or who likes who. I just think that he's good. And when I went to camp today, there was nothing that I saw prior to that shook me or said that it's any different. Now, when I went to practice, I'll say this. Again, I said I was going to be 1,000% with it. I didn't think Dylan Gabriel looked bad today. I mean, what's the name had to pick? Pickett had a pick today, but he also had a play where he got outside of the pocket and threw a nice 20-yard comeback that I thought was nice. That was in 7-on-7 period. So and we'll kind of tell you because under the 3 circumstances that I think Shedeur comes back and plays well, or gets an opportunity to play earlier than they may think. I think there's a path to that. Not to say that I think they're going to bury him on the bench. I think that there's some things ahead of him. One, the general manager is separate and apart from this. The general manager, if he had his picks, Shedeur Sanders wouldn't be playing like that. Because he has his mind set on somebody else. You know, Kevin Stefanski is a little along the lines of Kevin Stefanski is always like, listen, I mean, we played last year, we won 3 games. He looking at this situation is if I win anything, if I get 6, 7 games and I win them 6, 7, I'm here. And think about it like this. It's a Game of Thrones. Ain't nobody breaking it down like that. Hit the like button, bro. Ain't nobody breaking it down like this. The Game of Thrones is this. If Kevin Stefanski outlasts Andrew Berry, and Kevin Stefanski was hired before Andrew Berry, if the Browns take another general manager, who's higher on the pecking list? It's Kevin Stefanski. It's Stefanski. The general manager may be the general manager, but you think he gonna come in and have the cachet? No, you're new, bro. I outlasted the last general manager. I got 2 coaches of the year. And I had a quarterback. And look what I did with the roster and the deficiencies. He'll have his pick of who he wants. And guess what? If you draft a quarterback, and Kevin Stefanski is the person who drafted said quarterback next year, you're not going to fire the coach who drafted the quarterback and put him on his roster and taught him his scheme. There's no way you're going to fire him the next year. He automatically gets 2 to 3 more years just because of the amount of draft capital that you have invested in the quarterback. Y'all see how it's work? Listen. Y'all better stop looking surface level, man. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than whether or not Shedeur Sanders can play or not. It's about how you maximize. Now, if Shedeur Sanders come out of nowhere and somebody get hurt and they blow in the doors, he come in and he kills it, then Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry ain't stupid. You take the layup. You take this, you take the win. Take the compliment because it fell into your lap. But that ain't what that ain't the plan. That ain't what we doing. And all you got to do is take a look at how they talk. Take a look at the energy. Jonathan McGriff, just a question. I think Andrew Berry did play football. Kevin Stefanski did play football as well. I think Kevin Stefanski was a defensive back. Andrew Berry, I do believe, played football. I understand he's a Harvard guy. I know you don't have to, but it doesn't hurt. Thanks for Baker, Buck fan. Well, you're welcome for those 2 4,000 2 4,000 yards back to back. Here's the point too. There is one contingency, and we'll get to this because I think I want y'all to crash out yet, because football has a way of working things out. Life does too. Hey, G. Bush, do you think they're giving Kenny Pickett and Gabriel reps with the ones because they're trying to unload them? That could be a thing. I don't believe, Paul, the true believer, I don't believe that they're going into this camp believing that they're going to keep Flacco and Pickett. And I think the reason that they can't do it is because of the contingency of the fan base that has no stomach for that. I think people don't understand this, and this is the great thing about football and the competition of it. Coaches and general managers cave to pressure all the time. Right now, it's hot outside and it's middle of the summer, and they throw these nice fancy terms out and how they want to move and what they want to do in their thought processes. But it's a different thing when your team is wanting something and it's cold and it's getting dark early and your kids got to go to school on Monday and you've been looking for the Cleveland Browns to do something all week, and they come and lay another egg on Sunday, and it's 6:00 and y'all listening to the barbershop post game and G. Bush is eviscerating them, pointing out how garbage they is and how they punted on the season. And it's a thing that happens. It's called, we don't give a you know what about your plans. Because what happens is every king knows this in a kingdom. Every king knows it. That's why they got to have gladiatorial games. the fan base will keep showing up only as much as everything is not going to you know what. If you're 1-6, 1-7, you keep trotting out old dudes that's 40 plus years old, and you got dudes sitting on the bench tossing the ball up and being unbothered, there's no way the fan base is, because what starts to happen is you start to do that at your own peril. Think about what happened last year. Deshaun Watson was playing so bad that it turned into, once he tore his Achilles, they booed him. That's how Tim Couch was playing so bad one year that he got hit. Tim Couch talks about this to this day. He got booed. Jed Wills, the fan base turned on him like, oh, no. You're a top 10 pick. He still ain't mentally made it back. You don't understand how bad it is if on national TV you're getting beat and they start cheering or chanting for Shedeur Sanders. That's the reason. Let me just give y'all the heads up. That's the reason that people don't like that on their team, because you can't hide a person like that. Like, let me just give you the facts. You can't. So it's like this. You can't hide G. Bush. I talk different. I move different. I say things different. I'm unapologetic about certain things. So, and I do my homework, and I bring it, and I show up. So you can't hide and say, well, we're not going to give you this opportunity, or we're not going to show you no love, or we're not going to give you this, or we're not going to give you a chance. No, because people like that create chances, right? People create their own lane. Like, what are you talking about? There's nothing you can say. I'll get on these sticks and talk myself into the ether. I'll talk to a black screen because I believe it that much. You can't hide certain people. That's why it's uncomfortable to bring guys like that in as a 5th round pick, because when people get a chance to see that he can play, and then you're trotting guys out here that may not necessarily be good and you're losing games, he's going to motivate people to be like, nah, we ain't hearing that. And coaches don't like that, because usually when that happens, you're on the next thing smoking. You're out of here. Some general managers and coaches never come back from that. Let me just give you even if the mandate is to lose, ask Sashi Brown. They told Sashi Brown, the last general manager, they said, listen, we're trying to go 1-31 so we can get these draft picks. And you know what the owner did? He came back and fired him. After they went 1-31. Hugh Jackson was like, how you gonna fire me? You told me we were supposed to be losing. You gave me a contract extension after we went 1-31. Then you fired me. See, you gotta learn. It's the Game of Thrones, bro. It's all about the long live the king's dead, I'm the new king. That's how quickly you get replaced. Let me just keep it doing. See. Mary S. G. Bush, thanks for being out there and always keeping it real. God is finally has the final say. Shedeur is going to be all right in Cleveland or not. Number 12 is the real deal. We're going to talk about that coming up too. Yoshi Doshi says, if you can ball, you can ball. Let the ballers ball. I agree. Neil Gray says Stefanski and Andrew Barry is not in a win now mode. Their energy and body language is of losing mentality. The fans deserve better. Hey, I'm telling you, they're not trying to put them, listen. Eric B, thanks for keeping it 100, G. Bush. I appreciate you. Eric B, as always. Stefanski only on the hot seat if Saban says yes. Torrance Lee. If you had to ask me in a temperature gauge, Stefanski was posted. It looked like he had certain conversations that I ain't gonna say they gave him, but he was unbothered. The two unbothered people of the day go to Shedeur Sanders and Kevin Stefanski for different reasons. Now, I know your eyes tripping. Please don't trip. Here's what we're gonna do. Let's get back to this, and I want to show you something. Here's the ways that I believe in the crystal ball. Shedeur Sanders does get a fair shake and opportunity. Number one, if there's some sort of injury, injuries happen all the time, especially when you're 40 or things happen. You look at the situation with the Jets and Justin Fields, injuries happen, things happen all the time, right? If at that point in time, there's any sort of injury where you are forced, because now what they're going to do, they're not just going to, see, here's the thing. When you say there's a quarterback competition, people will hold you to that. They'll hold you to that standard. So if Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett or Dylan Gabriel get injured and they miss a practice or their elbow is sore, they held them out, guess what? You have to give Shedeur those reps because they're going to say, it looks odd. Like, how you going to say it's a quarterback competition when somebody's out and you still don't get reps? They're not going to do that. They're not that dumb. So that's one scenario in which I can foresee that happening. The second scenario is this. When they go to these inter squad scrimmages against the Panthers and the Eagles, and the Eagles got a crazy defense, you're going to start to see the deficiencies in real life. Because I will say this about Dylan Gabriel. He has a more strong arm and throws a tighter spiral than what I was hearing about. I'll give him that. But also, when there is pressure in his face and the pocket is cluttered, you start to see the deficiencies. The windows closed down. It looks like it's claustrophobic. He's not as accurate. He sailed a pass in the end zone when there was people in his face and it was a really enclosed space, and then went too much space to work with it. He airmailed a pass in the end zone, and that's just part of what it is. Everybody can look good when it's clean and 7-on-7, you throwing it out. But the problem is when that pressure get to be in your face, and I just out there. Look, I'm 6'5". And I'm 6'5". I'm probably over 300. And when I was out there, I was just looking at the size of the people in front. And it's difficult. I mean, he has to find a throwing window every time. And Shedeur isn't the biggest guy in the world, but Dylan Gabriel, when the pressure and the people in the condensed spot, it's tough in enclosed spaces. So I'll say that. The second thing is, when they go out there to them inter-squad scrimmages, it's one thing to have a plan. But when you go out there and there's pads on and you get embarrassed or it's looking bad, you do some reevaluating because you really don't know how good or bad you got it until you start going against other people that ain't letting you have that underneath stuff. That is not going to cater to what you want to do. That's not going to be like, oh, well, just sit the ball on this side. Let's put the defense in a bad situation so we can get a look. No. They're going to be running upfield. That pass rush is going to be there. Them corners going to be a man-to-man. And if you got Kenny Pickett or Joe Flacco or whoever is out there and they not looking good and they got the majority of the reps, sometimes you can win just by another dude losing. Because people going to write that. The Zach Jacksons of the world going to say, oh, listen, they went against the Cleveland. Hey, they went against the Eagles. They had the Eagles out there looking like they was the 2-3-time champs. They couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. They couldn't catch the football. They was getting balls knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It's nasty work. That's the second thing that I see. And the third thing is this. And this sucks, right? But I've been in this situation before. I'll give you a case in point. I was in high school. I'm actually in my high school Hall of Fame. I don't know how I made it. I was decent at something in my life. But coming up to my junior year after we won the national championship, we had guys in front of you that went to the league. All the guys that played in front of me went to the NFL, played long careers. I did not get an opportunity to even start until the last scrimmage game a week before the first game. The coach's son played my same position. And they was like, all right, well, you in the twos, you running with the twos, you running with the twos, you running with the twos. And one day, we got ready to go to practice, and they asked, where is he at? He wasn't on the field. His dad was yelling and screaming, where's he at? I said, Coach, he's in the training room. He said, GD, go get him out of the training room. Go get him. It was already too late. See that 71 kid over there? They said, oh, you need somebody to go in there with them ones? And when I went in there with the ones, they had the nerve to run this little trap play. Now, I had already seen it coming 3, 4, 5 times in a row. And needless to say, when they gave the ball to the trap guy, it was all she wrote. I met him in the backfield. And as a matter of fact, I celebrated. I danced all over the place. I almost took my helmet off. He said, get him on the sideline. Yeah, I had to run afterwards. But after that play, I never came off the field. Because sometimes in life, when you get the opportunity, you don't give it back. And God-given ability is undeniable. You can be mad all you want. And all you can ask for is an opportunity. Sometimes people don't give you the opportunity. It just falls in your lap. So with Shedeur Sanders, when and if he gets his opportunity, and as I so eloquently said the last podcast on Ultimate Browns or wherever you're looking at, sometimes when you get your chance, don't play it safe. They expect you to play it safe. They want you to play it safe. They want you to dink and dunk and move around and be efficient. Efficient is not getting you at the bottom of this deck. Deck stacked. Efficient play is not going to put you in a position where they're going to give you an opportunity to be the guy. I don't see that in your cards. But what I do see in your cards is the fact that you do this, right? I met his agent. I've met Boogie before. Shout out to Boogie. He probably listening right now. And the first thing I told Boogie on the airs of UCSS, I said, Boogie, first thing I want to tell Shedeur Sanders is never switch up. Always, always stay true to what you do. And that risk game, when you showing the rollie, let me tell you what the rollie means. The rollie means this ain't fake. That rollie, the bust down rollie, the Rolex is a sign of elegance, a sign of being different, a sign of, hey, listen, I don't care if you wear a real Rolex and you're digging in the garden. I don't care if you got a real Rolex and you put it underwater. I don't care if you got a real Rolex and you're running around with it. That boy ain't gonna turn. That boy ain't gonna tarnish. That's the rollie. So you have to be unbothered. And when you get your opportunity, it's show out. It ain't hand the ball, it's show out. Because that is what gets you on the field. That the playmaking ability, the ability to continue to sustain plays, the ability to throw under pressure, the ability to make plays where they didn't think it was. See, the thing about me, and I always realized what it was, I never quite got it. It ain't the practice. They said, well, when I look at him in practice, he ain't that fast. When I look at him in practice, he don't even be doing that. Matter of fact, he looked like he's sleepy. But guess what? When them lights came on, I was electrifying. See, that's the difference between me and the rest of y'all. Y'all can read off a script. Y'all can tell the stats and scores a little better than me. But when I get on these microphones, I'm electrifying, bro. We turn it on. Let me go live and it's over. Y'all can do it like that, but you can't do it like this. And that's what I respect about Shedeur. So he got to bring that back. It ain't went nowhere. He got to recognize and let people see that, yeah, practice is cool and I got to do this stuff in practice. But where you will earn your position is when the lights come on. When the lights come on, be special. We're not talking about a Timex watch. We're not talking about a Fossil watch. We're not even talking about no Movado. We need the Rolex wearing Shedeur Sanders. And that will get you on the field. Because when you do this, guess who's going to be watching? It ain't going to be Kevin Stefanski. It ain't going to be Andrew Berry. It's going to be Jimmy Haslam. See, that's your key. Always know who picked you. Always play to your base. Remember that. Play to your base. Because Jimmy Haslam, more than anything, he's a showman. More than anything, he about the glitz and the glamour. More than anything, he want to be relevant. And what is he going to do if he sees Shedeur Sanders in these preseason games zipping the ball in there doing, and that fan base and that crowd get behind you and they all start. See, that's the thing about Baker Mayfield that people miss. One thing you say about Baker, he moves people. Either one way or he moves people. And when Baker Mayfield came out and was unapologetic about how he was moving and he got people behind him, it was different. See, if he come out and Jimmy Haslam is like, you know what? I did call down to tell y'all to pick him. And it might not even happen the first game, second game. Heck, they might even let Flacco play 5 games. But when it comes to push come to shove, we all know who got the final say with the Cleveland Browns. Because we picked Johnny Manziel, didn't we? How long do you think Josh Gordon got a chance? A lot of times. And why you think Deshaun Watson was here? Because Jimmy Haslam wanted it to happen. And more than anything, he gonna get impatient. He gonna say, well, why are we playing this guy when we could be doing, well, we had a plan, all them plans be damned. So always remember this. And sometimes y'all don't be thinking. There's people out there that don't be having no plans. Just like when you go to work inside that organization, they got a plan for you and everybody else in there. And sometimes it ain't up, and it ain't gonna be a plan that really worked for you. It ain't gonna be the plan that's best for you. But just like you go in there and the manager got a plan and the vice president got a plan and they got a 6-7 year plan, you better go to work with your plan. You better sit down and you take the plan God got for you and you say, you had a plan, but guess what? That wasn't what it was supposed to be. That plan ain't working today. You better go in with a plan. And that plan better entail you maximizing and you plan and doing what you need to do to maximize your ability to get it done. Because like I always say, I'm going to be honest with you. How I give it up. Sometimes people be in your life for just a small period of time. We don't know how long you're going to be on the planet and where you're supposed to be. Sometimes it takes for you to go somewhere else to bloom. See, I ain't hearing what I'm talking about. Somebody just pulled up and said, somebody else pulled up in here and said, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers said, thank you for sending us Baker Mayfield. Hey, listen, I love the Cleveland Browns, but sometimes maybe your path ain't right where we're supposed to be. And I'm old enough to say it. I've been through enough that I can say it. Maybe it ain't here. Maybe you might bloom 2-3 places down the road. You don't even know. But if you didn't go through this, you wouldn't get to where you needed to go. So as always, you get your plan together, you go out, and the energy level, I like it. You're unbothered because you're not on your time. You know that one time you will get the opportunity, and what you do with it, you better go kill it. So that's the 3 scenarios that I'm talking about. Hopefully people ain't jumped off the bridge a little bit too much, right? And we've been talking a little bit, man. We've been here an hour and some change, 3,000 people, wherever you at. Hit that like button, man. Come on, man. There's a difference. There's levels to this, people. Let's keep going, man. Let's get to your comments. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to get to it. We'll be back on Saturday. Again, if y'all would like me to continue to give you these little updates, I will. And we'll continue to go. Chantel Pitton. Let me see. She says, G. Bush, you notice Joe never got 11 on 11 yesterday, and Shedeur never got 11 on 11 today. But the other two did. Maybe a cut is coming. Here's, I noticed that. And I like y'all's conspiracy theories too. I like the way y'all put that together. There is something to be said about this. When they say, if you want to look into anything, I will say I am 99.7.5% sure Shedeur Sanders is not getting cut. That's how I be knowing, because yeah, the owner ain't letting it go down like that. It's just he like, you crazy? Yeah, you gonna get rid of these old dudes up out of here. Like, if anybody get moved, it's one of the older guys. I think the competition is between those two. Now, there is a competition to see which one of these guys go first, because we've been talking about that on the barbershop, Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel. I don't feel like it's enough room in the rope in the room to be having four dudes where you're gonna try to split these reps evenly. I just don't see it. Maybe that's just me. Gina Bina. I probably destroyed that one. Who on the offensive line when Watson went down? It says the same O-line. Will the O-line be strong enough to protect whoever's quarterback won? Thank you for that great football question. I'm glad I got my notes here. I get to actually use some of the notes. First and foremost, let's talk about this. Zach Zinner looks a lot bigger and stronger. Zach Zinner, last year, he was a pick out of Michigan. They took him. He had broke his leg later in the season. He looked like he was a shell of himself. It looked like Zach Zinner has been in the weight room. He has his lower body together. And one thing that I will say about the offensive line in general, the new offensive line coach, he act like he know what he doing. I specifically was watching them. They steps on outside zone. He's going to power steps. He's going to how you pass off guys, how we're going to double team to this level. He's switching the fronts up, saying, hey, okay, now we got a 1 technique here and a 3 technique. Now this backer is coming up. They doing it on the fly. Power steps, reach steps, the footwork being in unison up front. Much better. I saw none of the above last year. He know what he's doing. He actually knows what he is doing. I think the offensive line looks in much better shape, led by DeJuan Jones. I think Joe Bitonio looks a little more spry. Wyatt Teller looks pretty good. So to me, I think there's a renewed sense of work. The offensive line was out there early today. Was out there early working, pre-practice, before they even got to stretching. They was already out there in 15 minutes, going over the things like that. So to me, that's another renewed vision of the way you need to run the football. I think the thing that they tried to do last year, that's not the identity of the linemen up front. They want to come off the ball and hit people. I think that they were not a pass blocking offensive line. I thought that was part of the reason they looked bad. The system looked nasty. The offensive line coach was nasty work. I think the offensive line will be better. The problem is this. Are they equipped to handle all of that friction? As you get older, I mean, it's tough to run the ball as much as they might run it. I mean, that's 20, 30, 40 crashes, violent crashing up front. when you got guys who are contemplating retirement. So we'll just see how that works, and if that can be sustainable. Yoshi Doshi, I'm looking at the Eagles joint practices. If Gabriel Sanders' ball's in, we'll know if we have our guy. Also play full preseason game evaluation. Here's the thing too. I like what you said with that. If you're gonna say that you already know what Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco are, there should be nobody touching the field except for Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders in every preseason game. One of them is going to play the first half, one plays the second half. Switch it up. One plays the first half, another plays the second half. Switch it up. And you heard it here first. I do not want to see Kenny Pickett in no preseason games. You know why? He got all the reps in practice. He got all the reps in the joint practice. Why do you need to see him? You didn't play Deshaun Watson all them games. You didn't play. No starter was playing them other games. Last year when they was going through it, there needs to be no, trust me, it should be Shedeur, Dylan Gabriel. Let's figure it out. 3 preseason games. That's how I would move with it. Let's see what this is. SG, appreciate you. They will let the mascot start and get reps before Shedeur in order to bury him on the bench. Well, right now I didn't see the dog pound mascot out there, but it's as of today, I would say that is a correct assessment. As of now, I would say yes. Lee, someone has to fill the new stadium. 12 will. Yeah. Here's the thing. It ain't gonna be about the new stadium. Trust me. There is the way he carries national coverage. You're not only gonna get people in the stands now saying that, you're gonna have people and announcers moving around saying that. Yeah, we need that right now. You don't gotta wait till the new stadium. You'll hear that today. I mean, it's 3,000, it's 4,000, it's 3,500 people in here. For 3,500 people in here. You know why? Because we talk about Shedeur Sanders in the quarterback competition. That don't move. Ain't nobody else moving nothing like that, bro. So, yeah, people going to want to see him play. G. Bush, do you think it is true about Shedeur getting traded to the Jets? The Browns leadership want to lose. Nah, we're not trading him. I would be very disappointed. I told you, there's a 99.7% chance he's on the roster. Listen, why would you do that? That's the worst nightmare you could possibly have. Like that, like if I'm the owner, I'm like, nah, bro, we're not doing that. Listen, if you cut Flacco or you cut Kenny Pickett and they go somewhere and play well, who cares? Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. But you trade him and he goes to New York, the biggest football market in the game, and he balls out? What? And he was sitting in your lap? Nah, we're not going to do that. Nope. We can have them other two. But we're not going to do that. We're just not. We're not going to do that. Let's see. We got some new comments down here. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Hater here. Yes, I want you to start week 1. Man, that's crazy, man. That's wild. Hey, man. Chuck, man, let's be honest. It does not matter who our quarterback is. With the beautiful new stadium and restaurants and bars inside, and this is Ohio. Man, nah, I think it matter a little bit. You know why? I think it does matter a little bit because we can say that now, but it's hard to say that when you're losing. And people are going to start chanting. People are going to start wanting to see him play, and it's going to be a bigger decision. Right now, you know, ain't no really too much craziness about. Susan Week says, I think Shedeur will start week 1. I also think Barry is the one that decided to draft him, not the owner. Give me that. Expound on that. I like that. See, this is why I be telling y'all, don't come up here and just agree with G. Bush. Bring your own sentiment. We ready to hear it. We like outside the box thinkers, Susan. We appreciate you. We appreciate the super chat. But let me know, expound on that. We'll talk about that. Well, listen, we've been here a long time. Here's what we're going to do. Make sure you guys pull back up. We're going to be back on Saturday. The barbershop is usually 9 to 11. What I'm going to do is postpone it. We are going to go to practice. I'll tell you what practice was like, and we'll do that as part of the barbershop. So be ready to go Saturday. We want to thank everybody who pulled up and showed up. And shout out to you guys for supporting the podcast or supporting the show. And we will be back doing the same thing on Saturday. With that being said, we'll catch you tomorrow. We'll be on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show from 11 to 1. No, it's 11 to 1. 11 to 1, we'll do that. I'm ready to go. We got another super chat. We get it in. Everett Crawford. I'm a Dolphins fan, but I have been watching this young man, Shedeur, since Jackson State. I know the man will be great one day. Keep doing what you're doing, G. Bush. And this is another thing, too. Shout out to all the people out there, man. You know how many people that I done seen in the chat that say, hey, I'm a long time Packers fan. My man Everett, I'm a Dolphins fan. People talk about they're a Ravens fan and a Steelers fan. But they appreciate what we talking over here. See, I always tell people the truth. Hey, listen, shout out to my people. T-Rex say, if you're a battle rap fan, grown man bars is something you're going to have to deal with. No matter how many fabricated lines you spit, it ain't going to equal up to this real ish right here. He was right. When you tell the truth and you keep it 100 with people to respect you. So I respect y'all too, and we keep it 1,000. With that being said, you never know where G-Mush might show up. I might just pull up at your doorstep. But if you want the fresh take, fresh cut on sports, I'm always here with the Clippers in the barbershop. We'll catch you tomorrow, and we'll be ready to go. 11 to 1 on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and then we back here on Saturday after training camp. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and as always, no matter how mad I get at them, let's go Browns.
Quality.